So I recently saw a stat that said that 78% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And that was a little surprising to me because I didn't realize that that number was that high. But it got me to start thinking about what could be the potential cause of why that number is as high as it is. And on one side of it, it's the income issue. I think there are absolutely some people that just don't make enough money to meet their monthly obligations. And then on the other side of that, you have people that are simply may not have an income problem, but they have a spending or a lifestyle problem. And I think a large percentage of that 78% of people that are living paycheck to paycheck are simply just living above their means. In today's video, I'm going to be going over some things that you should stop doing right now in order to remove yourself from that 78% of people that are living paycheck to paycheck, and so you can actually start seeing some results in your bank account. The first thing is you have to stop being in denial about the situation that you're currently in. You either have an income problem or you have a spending problem. And if you're not willing to get those things under control, then nothing that I talk about in today's video is going to be helpful for you. If it's an income problem, then maybe you need to enroll in a community college or a junior college so you can get a new certification so you can actually start earning some additional money. And if that's not the route that you want to take, then maybe you want to get a second job so you can start to bring in some more income. And if it's a spending problem, then you need to figure out where your money is going on a monthly basis. The biggest takeaway from this step is you cannot sit around and blame other people for the situation that you're currently in. You have to take some personal responsibility and figure out why you're in the situation that you're in, and then actually put some actionable steps in place in order to get yourself out of that situation. Now, I know everyone has their own issues and circumstances that they have to overcome in order to achieve their goals. So I'm not discounting that at all. But what I am saying is that everybody has an issue or circumstances that they have to overcome, and you should not allow that to be the reason of why you can't reach your goals. The next thing that you need to do is you need to get up, walk over to your window, and take a look out into your driveway, because that could be another reason of why you can't get ahead financially. You're driving a car that's way too expensive and you just don't make enough money to be able to pay for that and be able to get ahead financially. Now, some of us will go out and get a car that we can't afford to impress people that we don't even like, and there's really no rhyme or reason for why we actually do that. You're spending so much of your monthly income trying to make it seem like you actually have more money than you do, that it's actually destroying your ability to build long-term wealth. Now, I'm speaking from experience on this second point because I spent my 20s and my 30s jumping in and out of different cars, and it absolutely delayed my ability to really start to build wealth. Now, that's not to say that you can't have a car that is reliable, that can get you around, but if you have a car that is costing you more than 15 to 20% of your monthly take-home pay, then you need to really consider how important it is for you to have that vehicle. And in my opinion, I think you should sell it. You should sell that car and you should get something that's within about 10% of your monthly take-home pay. And then later on down the line, when you start making more money, you could always replace the car, but you have to make the money first and then you can get the car afterwards. Now, the third thing that we need to evaluate is your housing. So if your housing is costing you more than 50, 60% of your monthly take-home pay, you have too much house. I know some people that are making $5,000 a month and their mortgages are around $3,000 or $3,500 a month. And it's just a matter of time before everything collapses. You absolutely should not be spending more than half of your take-home pay on housing. And if you're in a situation where you currently own your home and it is costing you 60, 70% of your monthly take-home pay, then you have to sell that house. You may love that house, it may be the house of your dreams, but it's not the house that you need right now. So in my opinion, in order to make sure that any of this stuff works, you have to make sure that you are living below your means. And that means that your housing should not be more than 50% of your monthly take-home pay. I've said this before in a previous video and I'll say it again now. If you're a single person that doesn't have a family, there's nothing wrong with renting an apartment and having a roommate. Yes, I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying you gotta have your own this, you gotta have your own that. But look, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being in a situation that allows you to live comfortably, but also to start building wealth. The next thing are the credit cards. You gotta get rid of the credit cards. I made a previous video about how I got into credit card debt. the moment I stepped onto a college campus, and I talked about the process and the steps that I had to take in order to actually get out of credit card debt. It took a really long time, and it was a painful process. Now, if you're someone who has 4, 5, 6 credit cards that you're charging on every single month in order to maintain your lifestyle, then you really need to take a look and evaluate that. If you got a Best Buy card, if you've got a Saks Fifth Avenue card, and you've got your Visa card, you've got your MasterCard, you got your Amex, and you've got your Discover card. Yeah, that's great that you can go out there and talk about how you have all these credit cards, but the problem is most of those cards are maxed out. And when you're paying the bill every single month, you're actually not even really paying off any of the principal. That's all going to interest. So effectively what you're doing is you're going out again and you're buying things that you don't even need, and you're making the credit card companies richer because you're just paying the interest on the things that you bought. And by the time you pay that principal off, you more than likely don't even have the item that you initially purchased. So you paid all that money to the credit card companies, making them richer, and you don't even have the item that you actually bought. Next up, we're gonna talk about vacations. Everybody wants to take the extravagant, expensive vacations, put it on their credit card, and for what reason? So they can post it on Instagram? It's silly, it's ridiculous. But I'm telling you, if you're taking these expensive vacations that you can't even afford just so you can take photos and videos and post them on social media and pretend like you're actually flexing when you're really not, then you have a really big problem. Because if that's what you're doing, then eventually it's gonna catch up to you. Bad financial habits are similar to a house of cards. Eventually, it's all gonna come tumbling down. Next up is designer clothes. And similar to vacations that I just talked about, some people will go out and they'll buy these designer clothes because they think that it's a status symbol. They think that if they have these designer clothes, it'll give off the vibe that they're wealthy when they're really not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out and we're gonna spend a lot of money to buy designer and name brand clothing and put money into the pockets of those manufacturers instead of going out and buying clothes that are reasonably priced and being able to keep money in our pocket that we can then utilize to invest. So if that's not the mindset and the mentality that you have right now, then that also could be a reason of why you're not being able to get ahead financially. Next up is keeping up with the Joneses. And that mentality will ensure that you'll never get ahead financially. If you're worried about what your friends or your neighbors or what somebody on social media is posting about what they have, what they just bought, you are going to continue to be broke and struggle with money. The fact of the matter is, all of the people that are going out and buying these things that they're putting on social media, your neighbors that are coming home with new cars and all of these vacations, they all have one thing in common. More than likely, they are in the 78% of people that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're buying these things that are making them live well above their means. All right, so now that we've went through a lot of the reasons of why you can't get ahead financially, we are going to take a stand right now, and we are going to make a change that's going to impact our future moving forward. So we are going to start living below our means. We're going to evaluate everything that we currently have and determine what is a want and what is a need. And we're gonna get rid of everything that is a want. And we're gonna do that until we put ourselves in a position to be able to do what we wanna do from a financial perspective. So if you got some value from this video, consider subscribing, and while you're at it, hit that like button. And if you're interested in learning how to put a budget together, make sure to check out the next video.